Hey guys, it is Tuesday, so it is time for our Tuesday lesson. Today we're going to be talking about Gideon's Army, and you can find this in the book of Judges, chapters 6 and 7. Today's lesson focuses on trusting God and following Him even when it seems to be difficult or even impossible. Now, when the people of Israel cried out to the Lord on account of the Midianites, the Lord sent a prophet to the people of Israel, and he said to them, "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, I led you up from Egypt and brought you out of the house of slavery, and I delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians and from the hand of all who oppressed you, and I drove them out before you and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am the Lord your God. You shall not fear the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell, but you have not obeyed my voice." Now there was a man named Gideon who was a farmer. An angel came to Gideon and announced that God was going to use him to save the people and destroy their enemies. Gideon was doubtful. He was not mighty or powerful or a strong warrior. How could God use him? The angel assured him that he was the man for the job. God chooses unlikely heroes like Moses, David, the disciples, and does incredible things. Gideon was instructed to tear down the idols of the false god, Baal. He took them out of the temple and replaced them with God's altar. You'd think this might have given Gideon a little boost of confidence, but he was still somewhat doubtful. Gideon asked God to give him a sign to make sure he really was the one God wanted to use to defeat the Midianites. And Gideon said unto God, "If thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said, behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the floor. And if the dew be on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth beside, then shall I know that thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said." And it was so, for he rose up early on the morrow, and thrust the fleece together, and wrung the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water. God showed Gideon that he wanted him to do this with this sign. But you know what? Gideon asked God again to give him another sign. And Gideon said unto God, "Let not thine anger be hot against me, and I will speak but this once. Let me prove, I pray thee, but this once, with the fleece, that it now be dry only upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew." And God did so that night, for it was dry upon the fleece only, and there was dew on all the ground. You know, as I was reading this, I was thinking, God gave you a sign already. Why are you asking him again? But you know, I do the same thing, and if you think about it, you probably do too. We will ask God to show us, and when he does show us a sign stating, whatever we asked him to show us, we'll still, because whatever the situation is, whether it be, we're scared or unsure or nervous about it, we ask for another sign. It's just human nature to be unsure and to keep asking for clarity in a sign. It's just being scared, and you want to make sure what you are doing is of God. That's what Gideon was doing. He wanted to make sure it was the right thing. So now after this second sign, Gideon knows he has to go through with this. Before he went into battle, though, God did another interesting thing. He shrank the army. Now you would think that defeating a big enemy would require making the army bigger, right? Not this time. Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people who were with him rose early and encamped beside the spring of Harod. And the camp of Midian was north of them, by the hill of Moreh. In the valley, the Lord said to Gideon, "The people with you are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hand, lest Israel boast over me, saying, My own hand has saved me. Now therefore proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, Whoever is fearful and afraid, let him return home and hurry away from Mount Gilead." Then 22,000 of the people left, and 10,000 remained. And the Lord said to Gideon, These people are still too many. Take them down to the water, and I will test them for you there. And any one of whom I say to you, This one shall go with you, shall go with you. And any of whom I say to you, This one shall not go with you, shall not go. So he brought the people down to the water, and the Lord said to Gideon, Everyone who laps the water with his tongue as a dog laps, you shall set by himself. Likewise, everyone who kneels down to drink. And the number of those who lapped the water, putting their hands to their mouths, was 300 men. But all the rest of the people knelt down to drink water. And the Lord said to Gideon, With the 300 men who lapped, I will save you, and give you the midnights in your hand, and let all the others, every man to his home. So the people took provisions in their hands, and their trumpets, and he set all the rest of Israel, every man to his tent, but retained the 300 men, and the camp of Midian was below him in the valley. A preacher once preached on this, and he explained one time the reason God picked them this way. If they were drinking the water as a dog would drink the water, they weren't alert and aware of their surroundings. Because, when a dog's drinking water, it's looking straight at the water. It's not able to look around. Whereas the ones who drank the water from their hands, they'd lap the water up and drink it from their hands. They were still able to watch and look around, so they were more aware of the situation. So, let's see. I lost my place. So why did God get rid of so many soldiers? Well, first he wanted to cut the army in half, and then cut it down even further. The Midianites now outnumbered them almost 50-1. God wanted to make sure he received the glory for the victory. The Israelites had to know there was no possible way they could have done it on their own. Gideon heard someone discussing a dream he had experienced, in which a big barley cake came and knocked over their tent. Gideon took this to mean that they would win this battle, and it gave him hope and inspiration. Now, as soon as Gideon heard the telling of the dream and its interpretation, he worshipped, and he returned to the camp of Israel and said, Arise, for the Lord has given the host of Midian into your hand. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and put trumpets into their hands of all of them, and empty jars with torches inside the jars. And he said to them, Look at me, and do likewise. When I come to the outskirts of the camp, do as I do. When I blow the trumpet, I and all who are with me, then blow the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and shout, The sword of the Lord and of Gideon. So Gideon and 100 men who were with him came to the outskirts of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, when they had just set the watch. And they blew the trumpets and smashed the jars that were in their hands. Then the 3 companies blew their trumpets and broke their jars. They held in their left hands the torches, and in their right hands the trumpets to blow. And they cried out, The sword of the Lord and of Gideon. Every man stood in his place around the camp, and all the army ran. They cried out and fled when they blew the 300 trumpets. The Lord set every man's sword against his comrade, and against all the army. And the army fled as for Bethsheba toward Zerah, as far as the border of Abel-Maholah by Tabith. And the men of Israel were called out from Nephi, and from Asher, and from Manasseh, and they pursued after Midian. Now, did you catch that? The Israelites didn't even have to fight. All they had to do was blow their trumpets and smash their pitchers, their jars, to reveal the torches inside. As soon as they startled the army of Midian, the enemies ran away and then started fighting amongst themselves. God fulfills his promises and does amazing things through his people. Gideon might have been afraid and doubtful, but he knew he could trust God, and so can we. We might not think we're special or strong, but we don't have to be. We just need to be willing to let God work through us. That was our lesson this week. It was a little longer. I hope you all enjoyed it. You have a safe week. I love each and every one of you. I will be back Friday with our Fun Fact Friday video. I haven't been adding this to my videos every week, but if you aren't already subscribe and hit that little notification button and you'll get alerted every time I put a new video up. And don't forget to like these videos. I love you all. I will see you Friday with our Fun Fact Friday video. Bye.